G'day humans, Chris Stead here. I'm on the road and today I'm at Ganguddy Swamp or Dunns Swamp, which is just west of the Blue Mountains, about half an hour from Rylstone and in that kind of Mudgee Capertee Valley area, about 4 hours from Sydney if you're heading west or you're wondering how far it is going to be for a drive for you. Now in this video I'm going to take you on a full tour of this campsite and a review, give you my pros and cons about this spot. It's lovely, lovely, lovely spot. It's a really great campground actually. It's going to be probably a bit of a long one because I want to walk around. It's very much about the sites. All the sites here are very unique and different, so I'm going to show as many of those as I can, so stick with it. You'll probably see the number come up which you're thinking about staying in or have already booked. So we're going to go through all of that, and otherwise, yeah, just take you through everything you need to know. We've had a great time here. All right, let's go. Yeah, so as I was saying, it's about 30 minutes, 30 minutes from Rylstone, which is back down that road there. It's an easy access. You could come in here in a two-wheel hatchback with no problems at all, just like the dirt road. So nothing to worry about there. There's no reception here. Every now and again you might just end up somewhere and your phone will beep and somehow a text message gets through or something, but realistically just assume you've got no reception. And if you want to drive back in there, it's a bit of a drive back, but it's not an unpleasant drive, and Rylstone does have pubs, bakeries, general store, all that kind of stuff, service station and so forth, so you'll be heading back that way. Now the campsite's quite convoluted, and despite all the research I did before getting here, I really didn't get my mind around it, so I'm going to try and paint a picture for you, but we'll start here. I'll just show you up at the map. So the water's down there. So the water's kind of down there, and the campsites go up the hill to up the back here. So there's probably, I don't know, about say 15 metre rise, 20 metre rise. It's not too bad. It's definitely not like going up a huge hill. So there's the map there. So we're actually staying in 85, which is all the way back here. So that's right at the very back of the park. We're standing obviously here right now. That's that kind of where the entrance comes in from Rylstone. And you've got these loops, that kind of go around. There's a boat ramp down there. I'll take you through all of that, don't worry. So the interesting thing is that the tent sites that are tent only, they're kind of more up towards the front and around the water's edge and everything like that, whereas the caravan sites are a bit more at the back. So as we go through, I'll kind of point that out. So we have friends in caravans, so we as a result are actually staying in a caravan site but in a tent, and it's rock hard. So I'm going to talk you through that and show you what that means. But if you're here with a group of friends, I'm going to try and pick out the best spots for where you can go kind of get a group. But this one down here is a really good spot. For example, if you booked all of those sites, you've got to have a huge portion of the campground to yourself. I will say it's supposed to be sold out. We're here in 2025 in April, between Easter and Anzac. They've got joint weekends back to back. And it's supposed to be sold out, and it definitely hasn't been sold out, which is a bit disappointing. So I think a lot of people book and then don't turn up. And if that's you, don't do that. They actually send you an email just beforehand and let you know that you should cancel your booking if you're not going to turn up. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take you first up the way that we're camped, and then I'll lead you down the hill. So it's an absolutely breathtaking spot. You'll see the whole way through this video as we go, these big kind of rock formations. They're everywhere. They call them pagodas, I think. There's some bushwalks you can do. You can just climb up through the bush towards the top of them. Kids are clambering all over them. And they're just beautiful. And they create these really interesting backdrops to some of the sites as well. You'll also notice as we go through that this is one of the most well-kept, well-organised campsites I've ever been to. Everything's just schmick, really well done. You're not getting showers or anything like that. It's a national park, but it's just clean. Like it's a bring anything you bring in, you got to bring out. I'll talk you through the firewood situation in a sec. Obviously it's national park, you're not supposed to take anything. You kind of don't need to. So here's 97. So we're coming up here, 97, 96, 95. Last night these were all full. I've been super surprised by how many, especially considering the week that it is, like school holidays and everything. Super surprised that there's been so many like one night stays. So there's a big group here, they all knew each other and they're all gone. But they're all big enough. These ones are a little bit slopey, as you can see. But obviously with a caravan you can chock yourself up. It's just a bit more awkward with a tent. And each got their own fire pits. Now the sites up this way have small fire pits. Later on you'll show you some of the bigger, other sites have much bigger fire pits. But it was pretty easy. I didn't see anyone really struggling to get a car, a big caravan, and an awning, you know, like a kitchen preparation area into each of these sites. So there really is quite a bit of space in each of the sites, I find. A few of them are a little bit shorter, but all the ones up here are pretty similar to each other, as you can see. Like pretty flat. So these are some of our friends here. That's a big caravan they've got in there. They've got a swag on the ground and still have a fire pit and a car in there. So that gives you an idea. 91. And one of the things I've been astounded by is how quiet this place is. Given that it was the Easter school holidays, I was expecting, honestly, like music all night. Yeah, I just was expecting pandemonium, generators, you know, all that kind of stuff. Nothing. Haven't heard a generator. Barely heard any music. Heaps of families. I thought it was going to be like 20 somethings everywhere, but it's pretty much all been families. Kids running everywhere, having fun. Everyone early kind of nights. This is 86. It's a nice flat spot. And these sites are all kind of back onto the bush. But the one thing you don't get from any of these sites is really much of an outlook. As you can see, you're just looking into bush from up here. Pleasant, lovely, nice, but bushy. Now this is us, sprawled over this site. So in order to get the tent pegs into here, I had to use a hammer drill and then a hex bit to screw in some heavy duty screw in pegs. And they still snapped. I still lost a few. So 84. I'll talk to you a little bit more in a sec. I'll just show you this group site. So here's the toilet, just so you can see. So you're basically just getting a drop toilet. That's it. They're pretty plentiful. Like there's a lot of them around. When we first moved in here to this spot and we're setting up, I got about 3 or 4 big whiffs of the toilet, and I was like, oh, this is going to be horrific. And then we pretty much haven't spotted it again, so it's actually been pretty under control, much to my surprise. And I was also expecting the door constantly slamming and lids constantly slamming, but we've pretty much not known it's there. In fact, it's actually been kind of good having it that close in the end. I was really worried at first. Now up here you've got a group site, there's a few of these around, and so you get this humongous space and a much bigger fire pit. I don't know if you can see, there's people over there, I don't want to be too rude, but big giant fire pit there. And a huge space goes all the way back. There's tables and chairs. That's not going to say when it's really well organised. Logs. It's just been well looked after. Now, surprisingly, there's been 3 different people staying there in the 4 days we've been here, and each time it's been one tent. So it's a spot for 30 people. So I think that's really not that cool. There's lots of other sites available if you just want one tent, and this would have been nice to have just left that for people who are in groups, but anyway, it's worked out for us because we've only had one neighbour instead of the 6 neighbours I thought we were going to have. Right, we'll circle back around. But yeah, if you want to put a tent up or a swag or an awning or something like that, and you want to use your supplied pegs, or just stack classic tent pegs, yeah, think again. They're not going in the ground here. I mean, you got this solid whatever it is, granite, iron. It's been standing there since the dinosaur age. You can barely you're not going to get a peg through it, right? So that's just something to note. Just come prepared with either heaps of guy ropes, heaps of sandbags, or as I did, I just brought my 18 volt hammer drill and a masonry bit, and just did a pilot hole, and then just had a hex head with a screw in peg, just went straight in. Yeah, and even a few of those I couldn't get in. That's how hard it is. But in the end, there was a few spots where it just pushed straight in as well. It's not all rock, but yeah, don't come up here with a hammer and a lightweight peg, thinking you're getting a tent up. So it's something definitely to know. All right, so that's a look at that loop. So the weather's been, we've had one really rainy day, and then we had one kind of overcast day, and then today's kind of had moments of beautiful sun. The fantastic sunset last night, absolutely stunning. And I just climbed up on those rocks up there and kind of looked out over the sunset, then down, went by the water's edge, which I'll show you in a sec. It was amazing. All right, so back where we started, I'll take you down the other way, and we'll loop all the way back around here. So I'm going to try and make sure I've taken a tour of all the sites. Now, I'm trying to think of some pros and cons for you, because it's almost all pros, to be honest, except for that tent peg issue. And there's no water here, so you've got to bring your own water. That's just something to keep in mind. We've just got a couple of 10-litre jerry cans full of water that sort this out pretty good. There's enough sunshine gets through that you can use your solar. It's not like super dense foliage. I think most of the sites you're probably going to be able to find some solar during the day. And there's plentiful wildlife, lots going on, stacks of birds. Like the bird wildlife has been amazing. We have seen a platypus. We have seen a big red-bellied black snake. I'm going through the campsite. Possums are hilarious. At night it's just teeming with possums, and I'll get real, like they come and sit under your chair and get real close and personal. But you just got to make sure that if you do want to turn it with a camp kitchen, it's just got like a flimsy bit of fabric between you and your food. I wouldn't be doing that. I'd be putting them in boxes. All right, so you've got these names for each of the little kind of squared off areas. So this is Yilawura campsite. It's just one of those places where I was saying if you're coming in a big group, you could probably just try and grab all of the sites here. It's not too far from the water here. Where we are, it's a bit of a mission. If you want to get your kayaks and everything down there, you pretty much got to drive them down. We've had the kids on pushies. They've just been riding around in push bikes, building jumps, running through the bush. There's no reception, as I said, but I bought some CB radios, and the range on the radios has been great. I was really worried that with all these big rock formations, that wouldn't have range. So there's two. So there's one right there. It's a nice big site. It's got a little fire pit, but a nice big site, nothing above it. Good. Number two here. So you can see good distance between almost all the sites. It feels quite private, really spaced out quite well, I think. Three's nice and flat. Looks like you'll be able to get your tent pegs in that one too. Four, five, six. It's a good one. I've got a hammock over a tree there and heaps of space. Actually, that's actually one whole space there. They've got two setups on it. There's 5 there. And 6. Nice huge spot, 6. 7. So I don't know if that's 2 sites there or 1 as well. Yeah, so it's a pretty nice little spot there. And it's probably only about 100 metres down to the water too, which I'll show you right now. Haven't had much dealings with the rangers, other than that they've been very happy and polite and come around, and I think they probably keep it. I mean, they can see like there's no rubbish, everything's It's immaculate. I think if you just come here and you're not actively trying to be a douchebag, you're probably not going to get many problems at all in the ranges. There you go. So there's quite a lot of bushwalks, so I'll show you one that we went on, but this one, that's actually, some of the kids went on there, so they rode their bikes up it and just goes all the way around and around the swamp and comes in from the other side. In fact, well, I can just show you the map. Yeah, so you can ride around there. It's a nice big awesome walk out to the picnic place and a lookout. We went on another one on the other side I'll show you shortly, which takes you right up to the top of one of the pagodas. Yeah. Alright, so we're going down to Kookaburra Beach. This is a really cool spot down here. So you've got these spots here, and these are tent sites. So as I go around, I'll try and talk you through some of them. This is number 11. I think it's just 11. I think this is 2 sites. Oh no, it must be because it's got 2 fire pits. There's 11 and 12. Yeah, there we go. So 12 over there. So you can pretty much judge it by the fire pits. Sometimes they've got heaps of space. Sometimes there's a lot of tree action, so you're not going to get a giant Taj Mahal-like tent like the one we've got. But you can see here they have much better fire pits. So you've got a good fire pit. That just swings around the hot plate. You notice the wood under there as well. I'm going to go into the wood in a second. They actually provide a mountain of firewood here. Apparently there's not always there. Apparently sometimes you can turn up and there's none, but there was plenty when we got here. And so it's great because it's the perfect size to fit into everything. You don't have big logs breaching everything. You don't have people in the bush chainsawing. It's good wood. But this is a pretty good space. It's one of the few bits of grass I've seen. Pretty flat. So it's interesting, right? Because you could fit so many tents in here if you really wanted to. You could really circle the wagons, but I don't know. They do cap each spot with a certain amount of people. But that's what I'm saying. If you're not an absolute, if you're following the rules and not being an idiot, I don't think the rangers are going to give you too much grief. Unless you're really taking the piss. This is a pretty cool spot down here as well. So I can't remember what numbers these are. 17, I can see. It's a big, they're just sitting up there, these guys just arrived, but it's a huge amount of space for cars, and you could easily fit 2 caravans in there as well, but I don't think they'll let you, but if you want to try, risk it. And you got 17 and 18, I think they are. And that huge space, and the water's right on the other side of those trees. Really good spot. It gets even better as we go down. So we're here in April, as I said, and it's been pretty mild. Like I'm in a singlet top and shorts right now. I'm feeling very comfortable. The night's been quite crisp, like dropping down to 9, 8. So the fire's been in good use. Hot water bottles and the like. This is a pretty cool spot in here. So what numbers are they? But having one of the sites down by the beach at least, I think, if you're in a big group, would be handy. Just to have somewhere for the kids to go back and forth from. So you've got 15, 13 and 14. There's really big open space. Water views through there. You got this big rock backdrop which kind of lights up with the flames. Really lovely spot. There's a walk that goes right around the point that you can follow through there, but I won't do that right now. That can be one for you to discover. That's a cracking spot right there. And you come down here and it's just sunrise facing. And I've just been down here with my reclining lounge chair and a beer, soaking up the rays, watching this, looking at this beautiful bluff. Look at that. Absolute magic. Kids were canoeing through the reeds here and on the rocks on the other side. It's epic. They've got tables down here, they've got a barbecue down here. I'll show you on the other side, they've got electric barbecues if you need them as well. It's just so well done. And I think it's worth just as well pointing out, like it's called a swamp, and I was expecting, I guess, that stinky, swampy smell, lots of mosquitoes. You know, look at that. It's hard to believe. That's real. And it's not like that at all. Lots of reeds around the outside and everything like that, but they've made channels in all the places so that you can get canoes out and kayaks and just swim out there easily. It's crisp, there's no doubt about it. It's probably about 15 degrees, I reckon, in the water. Like, you definitely know you've had a swim. But yeah, you can go over there and climb up over all the rocks, and there's a lot of rock places where the kids can kind of jump off rocks, or you can jump off rocks, but it's a risky play, I tell you. There's so much submerged stuff under there. Yeah, it's not very comfortable. As a parent, I was kind of pulled back on it. Went over there to check, and they'd done a pretty good check for submerged logs and everything, but then they'd missed one, and I was like, gosh, like if you land on that. Anyway, obviously the National Parks policy is don't jump off any rocks, but there are some pretty good ones. All right, so that's kind of this area, so the Kookaburra Beach area. So that's your kind of, like I said, your sunrise facing side. It's really lovely in the morning. You come down, you get full sun. There's a lovely little beach. Got the tables and chairs set up. Let's look at the bluff. It's really, really lovely. And then we'll get into the other side. I'll show you. It's pretty sweet there too. Okay. Now there are these little tracks. They head off here. Now I'm going to go back to where we started, just so I can give you a really good idea of, well, just so you don't get lost, basically. But this track kind of follows all the rocks, goes past a few campsites, and it actually goes through like bits of the rock and everything like that towards the other side. It's pretty epic. All right, but as for now, I'll go back up to that original sign and we'll loop back the next way. Okay, we're back at the map. So I've taken you up through here, which is where we're staying. I've just taken you down to Kookaburra's Beach and around these ones. I think I said that was 17 and 18. It turned out 17 and 16, that one there, that big space where they were setting up. And you can see those walks I was talking about. So there's one that kind of goes in front, and that's that one that kind of goes through the cliff and like that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to walk down here on this loop. I'll take you up through these campsites, back past the beach area, and then we'll come back looping through here to the end. All right, let's go. So I have seen kangaroos, wallabies, wombat, but like I said, the birds have been the most fascinating down by the water's edge. I brought all my fishing gear to have a fish here, and kind of on arrival I was talking to a few people and they were saying that it's kind of been fished out. They stopped resupplying it with fish. So fishing isn't that big a thing here. There's a lot of guys out with lures doing stuff, but I haven't found anyone who's caught anything or even come close. So probably would have been better off not trying to pack in 3 rods and all my tackle and buckets and everything in the end. But having the kids' bikes has definitely been worthwhile, and also the kayaks. All right, so here we have the Firewood. So let's have a look. There's still a little bit left. So they've got this full access to a big chunky fire. And when we got here the first day, that was piled up full, and all the way back as well. Like that whole thing was filled to the brim with wood, and all the way back here as well. So it's a little bit depleted now after, you know, whatever it's been, 4 days of pilfering. But oh, actually, you know what? Look, that's actually full. So they're going to open that up next. You can see there's wood underneath. There you go. So that's great. Like, I really, you know, on the whole drive in, I was just, you know, when you're driving into a campsite like this and you start spying wood, you know, 10 minutes away, 15 minutes away by the side of the road, you know, before you get into the national park, and you're just like, oh, I'm going to mark that, come back, mark that, come back. Almost crashed 3 times, I wasn't paying attention enough. And then, as it turned out, didn't need it. There's plenty here, more than enough. Righto, so some really interesting spots up here. So you've got a lot of places that you can just drive straight up to. A lot of the tent sites do require you to basically carry your tent in. Which can be a problem when you've got as much stuff that we've got. So here we've got, what's that? The Gurung campsite, I guess. This is a really interesting spot, this one. This would be a great one for a group of friends. So I'm not sure what the numbers are. You got, it's 21 there, it's 25 here, 24, so I guess it's 21, 22, 23, 24, maybe 25 in this little spot. So you get this, you've got quite a big communal area in the middle, not too much traffic driving through. You have this whole space to yourself, otherwise, you know, I don't know if these people know each other or not, but you know, big open space, easy solar, super flat. Ground doesn't look rock hard like mine does, but big fire pits. So I think you're pretty sweet here. You're just a little bit far away from the water, not as bad as my place. You're very central to everything. All right, go back here. So obviously a lot of people hiking, lots of people kayaking, swimming, some fishing as I mentioned. We came across some people who were doing bouldering. They had these giant mats on their backs and they were, you know, going for these bushwalks and then finding places to, I guess, abseil or rock climb and stuff all over the place. So that was pretty cool. So here's 26 to 32. And this is a kind of where you got to park the car and then take your tent over to the other side. I've seen a lot of people actually just sleeping on car roofs and the like, and then just having a dome or something in actual tent area. They don't seem to be any issues with that. Sleeping in the parking lot effectively. But hopefully you get an idea here about the amount of space, and look at those amazing rocks. Yeah, all easily climbable. And you've got these cool little water rivet areas where it's eroded through that the kids can get up. Actually, that's actually walking back down to Kookaburra Beach. That's the place I was telling you where we were before. What site number is this? Got 30. So I do notice that these sites, the ones that we're kind of coming across now, they're all a little bit less flat. So a little bit more slopey. I mean, that's actually a pretty flat bit there. Just a little less. If you've got a bigger tent, you're probably going to find it a struggle to find a flat spot. So again, lovely backdrop here with these sites. You get your big rocks. Where's the fire pit? Down here. And you're kind of looking out towards the water, the sunset. I'll show you up here as well. Here's that bit through the. You kind of walk through the rocks, which is a bit of an adventure. It's just so cool. And you can probably notice like how quiet it is in general. The kids have been in heaven, absolute heaven. Very cool. Okay, so we're going to follow this round and I'll take you out to the point. Now, down by the water's edge, you will find a place that's like permanently built there that will hire out kayaks. I think they're $50 for 2 hours. So right down here, we've got the 10 sites that are out on the point. Again, great, but if you've got friends who are in camper trailers, they're going to be way back there somewhere. So you don't have that kind of, it's not that kind of group camping spot in terms of being able to have people in caravans and people in tents in the same area generally. Someone's having a fight down here, but this is awesome. This is awesome. This is probably my favourite spot. If you can score it, if all your mates have got tents. You're right out here on the point is, I can see site 44, 41, so I'd say 42 and 43 down here too. and you can see it's walk in, so you're parking your car over there and you're walking in your tent and all your gear, setting it up. The grounds still looks reasonably tough, but I can see that these guys have got in normal, basic pegs in, okay, so it must be a lot softer than where I am. And it looks like they'll all know each other by the looks of it. Should be the way to do it. Right. So you got those sites there, you got 42 here, which no one's in at the moment, so I'll take it down there in a sec. And 43 down here, which I think is a killer spot. Now, I don't know, I was talking about the temperature now, it's been pretty mild and pretty nice. In summer, it'd be baking out here and you'd really want to be near the water. This would be 43, a killer spot if you can hike your stuff down here. Nice big fire pit right on the water, super flat. What a ripper. Only drama could end up being, in some other months, mosquitoes. And you got your own little private beach, look at that. It's just jaw-droppingly beautiful out here. So up the top of the hill where we are, you don't have much of an outlook. You're potentially further away from things like mosquitoes and flies and those kinds of things that might be more water driven. But yeah, you don't have the outlook. Down here you're more susceptible to that potentially, but you've also got, that amazing outlook. And this is site 40, oh, I've forgotten, sorry. The other 40. Again, really nice spot. Looks like there's actually spots for 1, 2, 3 different tent sites here, plus a big communal fire pit in the middle. What a spot. Yeah, so it's really, really lovely down here. You just got to hoik your gear in. And that's the only thing that you have to worry about. All right, let's go back up to the road. All right, so that was the Point campsite down there. And if you follow kind of around that way, you're going to go around to Kookaburra Beach, which we were at before. And if we head down here, we're going to head down to the boat ramp. Now, there's been a pretty significant or consistent day tripper arrivals, I've noticed. The Easter weekend, there was a lot of day trippers. It's not a big surprise. In between Easter and Anzac Day, it's just been kind of a bit of a steady stream, but nothing overwhelming, especially around lunch. As you'll see when we get down here, you've got picnic tables all through here, little barbecues, there's electric barbecues, people coming and kayaking and stuff like that, just doing bushwalks. I mean, it's epic, right? But it's so far away from where anyone's actually staying. I don't think it's an issue for anyone, really, that there's day trippers coming in. Yeah, in any way, shape or form. So here's that kayak hiring place, Southern Cross Kayaking. I mean, it's good that it's there, right? It does seem to get a lot of use. And as you go back up there, you get back to the campsite. So we'll walk up there in a sec. This whole area down here is pretty much just dedicated to recreation. You can see like really nice clean tables and chairs. They all look brand new, little fire pits everywhere. Lots of water entry. Cut holes through all the reeds so that it's easy to get in and out. Look at that. Amazing. So I was sitting here last night and the sunset's right over there. And yeah, probably don't need to be told too much to know how beautiful that is. Perfect reflection as well, it was dead still. It doesn't feel like a swamp, does it? Feels like a full river system. There's a whole bunch of jump rocks kind of over there. But yeah, like I said, there's actually a plaque on one of them, so someone's obviously jumped off and never came back up. It's enough to scare me off it. And up here, you've been used at the moment, a couple of electric barbecues that were immaculately clean. I couldn't believe how clean they were. So, you know if they can get you out of the jam, if you got run out of gas or for the day trippers or whatever. And then somewhere around here, just around the corner, is one of the walks you can do. Which is excellent and well worth it. What do they call it? Oh yeah, walk around the Platypus Point, and you can go to the Pagoda lookout track. It goes right up to the top of the mountains in the far distance over there. You go to the dam wall, see where the dam's blocked, and there's a long cave as well down there. So in the Wollemi National Park here, I'm pretty sure it got hit very bad by the fires, but you wouldn't know it. Everything seems to have bounced back, but you can see they are putting some trying to regrow some plants here. So these are the closest other than the ones out in the point there, at Kookaburra Beach, but these spots up here are pretty awfully close to the water as well. So we've got 28, 27, 26 sites through here. They are, however, not flat. Not really. I don't know if it's coming out in the camera. They've all got a bit of a slope on them and they're not very big. So kind of more of the domey tents. That one's actually pretty flat. So they have tried to tier them, actually, to be fair. They have tried to tier them. It's not too bad, but you haven't got a lot of space that's flat. So you can get a tent on there, but you're not going to get your kitchen awning there. I mean, it's got a nice outlook, looking down towards the water. And obviously, like I said, sunset's that way, so that'd be beautiful. But I reckon if you've got a big setup, it's a little bit compromised for space, these spots. And that's that track, by the way, so that's where I went between the cliffs and walked around that way to the point, just to give you an idea where we are. There's 29 over there, that definitely looks very slopey. I mean, tents on a slope's a big thing for me, just because of my back. 27 down here. These guys look like they've actually set their tent up on one and then set up a kitchen on the other. That's a good idea. Alright, we're going to bash through here, which I'm probably not supposed to do, but I'm doing it. And show you the last remaining sites that I haven't covered. I don't think there's anything else I can tell you at this point. I think I can say it's a lot more. It's a lot better set up than I thought it was going to be before I got here. It's a lot easier to get around. It's spread out, but it looked so spread out before I got here. I was like, oh wow, it's like huge distances, and they're not that huge. You know, you can walk from where we are at the furthest end of the campsite. You can walk down to Kookaburra Beach in under 5 minutes. You know. All right, so that's back down to the kayaks there. So I've come up here, and I want to show you down to these spots because these are really cool. So there's a couple of spots up here. I think it's 51 and 52 from memory. So this one you can see here, someone's got the tent. And then there's another one that you've got to carry it in, obviously. There's another one even further around. So you see this is 51. And you got 52 up there. It's really in the middle of nowhere, these two. You've got lots of space around them. 52 is right up the top there. You can see a little dome tent. There's people there. I'm not going to go up there and do that to them, but I wanted to show you this, which I think makes this spot, it's not particularly flat. Oh no, it's all right, but it's not. That's really hilly up there. It's flat enough for the tent. But you've got this cool little outlook around here. Look at this. And when I came past here last night, when sunset was on, and the sunset was kind of up there, they'd set this up, and they had like tables, chairs, and everything. They were sitting in this cave, watching the sunset. I'm assuming it's the people that are staying around the corner. And it just looked like magic. I was very jealous very quickly. Yeah, I just want to show you that because I reckon that's one of the unique features of this site, and that's why I wanted you to walk around the entire campground, because every kind of site has its own little unique twist. Yeah, and there's people right up there that have trekked it in. Alright, let's go back to the road. Okay, so let's just get our bearings. So that's where we just were, down by that cave. Boat ramps down there. Firewood's down there, and Kookaburra Beach. We're now just going to loop around this way. See the last of the sites. This is probably we're going to find the best mix, I think, of sites which are like caravan friendly but also close to tents. See the bus here. So in there you've got 56, 55, kind of some tents, sites, again very kind of hilly in there. They don't strike me as the best spots. Hammocks in the trees though is pretty cool. Over here you have a bit more space. This is just one site, 54. So you've got kind of the huge parking area which you could easily fit a camper trailer in. And then you've got this space off to the offside here. Slopey though. Definitely slopey. But it allows you to have a big open, allows you to park a trailer, then have this big open space for a fire as well. As opposed to where we are, where you've got the camper trailer and your campfire kind of like pushed up against you. So it's a bit of a compromise spot I think in there. Looks lovely but very hilly and only really fits small tents. 58 and 57 again, get all that back space out the back there. This would be a good one I think to get if you're like travelling with another family. You take 58, 57 and then you've got all this space out the back here for tents, awnings, you know, whatever you want. Fire pits out there. So pretty good space. Not too far from the water either. So to give you an idea, that rock formation that was near the tent, my tent, is the one that's kind of coming up on the, actually slightly further up. So we're looping back round to it. These could be quite good I think in summer. Reasonably close to the water, still a lot of shade. It's been a nice breeze coming through the whole time we've been here too. This is 59. And here you've got the Wollemi brush-tailed possum, of which there is many. So again, another really good group spot I think. So you've got 63. They managed to get their tent up in the middle of all those trees. 63, 62, 61. If you had those three and you've got this huge space that I'm standing in right now, you know, to whatever, play cricket, play soccer, whatever. I mean, they're super generously spaced. A lot of light here, potentially good for winter when you're not too worried about getting too hot. You still want that solar. You've got less hours to get it. Come up here, got a few more spots. 64 again, that's kind of like into the bush. See the awning that's set up in there and another tent. So that's carrying in from a parking spot style place. Looks pretty good actually, looks reasonably flat and lots of shade. And down there, that's where we were before. I don't know if you remember, we just left the Firewood area and I walked into that area where I said it'd be good for a big group. That's the other side of it. So that's joins between the two roads. Another couple of spots off here. Probably more good for solo campers in here, I think. But still kind of easily fitting in. Obviously out for the day. And you probably notice the whole entire time, like the toilets are pretty well spaced out. Obviously no showers here. You just go for a swim. But that's the other side of the rock. So I was watching the sunset from up there yesterday on my tent's on the other side. To give you an idea of where we've gone. This looks like a particularly compromised site, this one here. Number 67. We've also got the most amount of people staying in any one single side here. And it's the smaller side I think. They're like a swag, 3 domes and a rooftop. They seem really happy. Those are the rock climbers. 68 here. So these spots are a little bit, I don't know, probably the least exciting. Nothing wrong with them. A bit more separate from everyone though, if you want your space. And it's potentially fitting that we're ending the tour here with this nice flat spot. 69 dudes! Alrighty. And there you go, that is a pretty extensive tour of Dunns Swamp, the Ganguddy Swamp camping ground. Well, I hope that's been of use to you. I definitely wish that I'd been able to find a video like that before I stayed here. So hopefully in filming that I've forwarded on the karma, the goodwills, and you've enjoyed it and got something out of it. I have to say I'm pretty pleasantly surprised. I was expecting it to be, I knew it was going to be beautiful, like I was expecting it to be beautiful, but I wasn't expecting just a quality camping community here. A lot of families, everyone's very respectful, and it's really made the stay a lot better. And I've been loving the wildlife as well, and those little bushwalks that go from side to side. So you can definitely easily spend a good week here, I think, and have a great time. Anyway, I'm Chris Stead. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure to check out my other videos. And until next time, I'll check you later.